you started performing spoken word in the early 80s.
1983.
Yeah. So, I mean...
You want to know why?
Sure.
There was a promoter in Los Angeles, and he had these amazing shows. He put 20 people on stage for like 10 minutes each. And it was a really fun night. And like Jeffrey Lee Pierce of the Gun Club is reading a tour journal. Mike Watt from the Minutemen is telling a story. And one night I would go to the gigs because I knew all these people. And one night the promoter said, "You got a big mouth on you. You get up there for 10 minutes. I go, "I got nothing." He goes, "I got $10 for you to do." I said, $10, I'll take that action. I'm thinking food. So the next week I got up on stage, I told a story about our guitar player nearly getting run over by a neo-Nazi at band practice. This guy tried to run over Greg Ginn in a car. And Greg came back, "I nearly got run over." "All right, so let's start band practice." So it was just a day in the life. So I told that story and read some dumb thing I had written, and the crowd went, "We do another one." I said, "Well, my 10 minutes is up." And these people came up to me afterwards like, "When's your next show?" I go, "Well, I'm leaving on tour." They go, No. Next time you're just on stage alone." I went, "I don't know, but I really liked it." And the promoter guy said, "How about this? Next time you open for one of the poets I manage, and I'll give you 20 minutes. And a few of those, now the poet's opening for me." But it started with $10 for 10 minutes, and I'm thinking of an omelet at Denny's later. I didn't see it coming. I just kind of went, okay, $10, and it was completely financial. It was for the money, and I hate to say it, but I'm being honest. It was only for the money. I made porn for 10 minutes.
So within any given week, you're going to be working on a multiplicity of projects. And this is something that you've been doing your entire life. You've been one of the living embodiments of this self-employed hustle. Do you think there are certain personality traits that you need to possess in order to make that work?
My personality traits is ever-flowing lava spill of anger. I'm an angry person. Not at you, not at any of you. I'm just angry in general, and I'm curious. And so I wake up every day like, let's go. Nothing moves fast enough for me. Everything needs to go faster. There needs to be better conclusions. And so any country I haven't been to, I'm mad at the country, kind of, because I haven't been there yet. I want to go. And so when someone says, "Hey, you want to be in a film?" Yes. Like, damn it, let's start now. I can't wait. And if there's, you're on at 8 o'clock. Why can't we go on at 7? I'm here. Bring them in, let's go. And so I should be mellowing out, but it's getting worse. And so I go at everything with a certain amount of desperation to make it and to vanquish all foes and neutralize all negativity. And I don't care what the paycheck is. I want to tear it to pieces in a good way. I want to get it done. And so you need some of that, and you need to be motivated. I meet young people, and I remember some listlessness when I was 20-something because you're good looking and you have 8 million years ahead of you to go, where time is a pain in the ass. Like, I have a summer off, what do I do? At my age, it's like, I have a summer? Okay, let's burn it up, because I got like 4 more of these before my legs give out. And so but I've always been that. Since I was about 17, I've been like, in high school, I had like 3 jobs. I was like the sophomore kid with like the keys to 3 stores on my keychain, because I was a shift manager. I'm the guy you can trust. I'll take the money to the bank and deposit it because I'm not going to steal. And I was always kind of that maniac for employment and an opportunity to work. And it's never really been about money besides the practical. Like, I need $800 because I need 40 snare heads, 50 pairs of drumsticks, 80 pairs of bass strings. So I got to get this band in a van across America for the next 6 weeks. So I need the money. I don't care about my stomach. It's logistics. I need to get, across the desert. And at this point, that's not a concern. I just do stuff. And so for the young person in this very turbulent, interesting modern world, multitasking and being multi-talented, multi-platformed, I think is a very good way to go about it. Just being open, like, "Hey, you know how to build a website. Would you ever think about helping me edit some video content?" "Yeah, man, let me try that." And all of a sudden you have a new skill. And I think that's the new reality for a 19-year-old person going into this world, is like, I need to do A, B, C, and D, because there's probably not gonna be a job at the bank. Like your dad and your dad's dad, it was like, show up to the mill, grind the thing, make the beer and the cheese or whatever. I do this 20 hours a week. I'm filling in for a friend over here, and I'm kind of paying the rent. And that kind of person needs to be able to be dropped in any major city with a laptop and be able to be viable. It would be fascinating to be a young person right now in the Western world. I think it would be amazing, but you'd have to be far more skilled than I was when I was that age back in my day in the last century.
I want to talk a little bit about acting, given that we're here for the screening of He Never Died.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's something you've been doing for 20 plus years at this point. It's something that you were turned on to by a friend of yours who encouraged you to sort of audition,
Crispin Glover.
Crispin Glover, yeah.
Henry, you should really try acting. What we go to school for, you can just do because you're crazy. I said, oh yeah, I'm talking to Mr. Sanity over here. I mean, Crispin is like, he is very artistic. And but seriously, Crispin said, Henry, consider acting. And I said, I don't know, I'm a music guy. He said, trust me, you might like it. If you ever get an offer, don't say no before you at least audition. I said, okay, he's a really good guy and very talented. And like a year later, I got an offer for a UCLA student film, and the part was amazing, great script. I went, okay. And I started learning how to act by being on set. I never took a lesson. I just kind of, sneak onto the set and try not to bomb too hard.
You've said that you're not opposed to this this cattle call process of auditioning in LA. That it sort of helps you keep up your A game when it comes to.
I like auditioning. I like getting a part. I love the competition. And I don't mind losing because it's usually for a good reason. I wasn't good enough. That's fine. But I like when I win because I earned that. I pulled that down. I went into a stream that's fished by a lot of people and I got the fish. And that goes to my anger. And I'm not trying to get something more than you. I'm showing up, you're showing up. You and I, one of us is walking out of the basement with the key. May that be the best person for the job. If it's not me that day, that's cool because I'll be back. I'm never going to stop. And so every once in a while, there's no competition. Henry rewrote this for you. And it's very different for me. I'm used to showing up with a line of people with much better hair and bombing and going back to my car with a lump in my throat, my ears burning. But it makes me a better, it burns lean tissue. It's good to be nervous. Like I went up for some big roles last year. I didn't get them. But I tried hard and they said, good audition, but we're going elsewhere, but that didn't suck, which is good enough for me because the casting person will remember me next time.
You've talked about how you're quite fond of going for what you describe as the wrongest parts, even things like Michael Bay, Jerry Bruckheimer films.
Yeah.
Like a Bad Boy 2 situation.
Yeah, because imagine a schmuck like me being in a movie like that. That's punk rock. Where you're watching the movie going like, yeah, my man, he got over the wall. One of ours is in there with all these like good-looking people. And then there's like, yes, he BS'd his way into that one. And actually, that was a real audition. I went and did it, and Bruckheimer and Michael Bay were there. And they said, give him the part. So I earned that one. But I was in, there I am hanging out with Will Smith going, what am I doing here? And he's a wonderful guy. He's quite talented and wears it well. But there wasn't one moment in that film where I'm thinking, yeah, man, these are my peers and I am an actor. I'm a crass opportunist. And it came up and I went for it. What do you think, I'm going to sit around and cry? I'm going.
I just want to briefly touch upon He Never Died.
Oh, yeah.
Your character in this film, Jack, has been through centuries of tragedy. His employment history goes through pages and pages worth of gigs, similar to you. But the difference with you, I would say, is that he's grown very jaded and apathetic towards life.
Right.
I'm curious, is that something, you, the eternally curious guy, is that something that you could ever see yourself?
It happens to me now and then. You can get down in the mouth certain times of the year, certain occasions, like anniversaries of people's deaths that are very hard for me to deal with, where you're like, wow, everything sucks. But it doesn't. It's just, you got to change your mind. Jack cannot die. And so all of us have an end date in that we're not thinking about dying anytime soon, but you have a bucket list. I want to go to Thailand before I die. And there's those 10 things you want to do before you die. So we have death kind of sort of up the road, hopefully no time soon. And so I wish I had an extra 100 years. Really? You really want another 100 years of traffic jams? Jack has been alive for centuries. Everything that was cool, he was burned out on that 600 years ago. He's done every possible thing a human can do, but he can't die. And now he's sick of it. And so here's the idea of the undead. But the undead is clinically depressed, lives in his underwear, sleeps 15 hours a day, watches bad TV, and eats at the same diner every single day because he's so bored. He needs a routine. So, and he goes to bingo and he eats at a diner. It's like AA. He's got a routine and he sticks with it. And so all around him, the world is a place with an end date except for Jack. And it's like, oh, you're killing me. He's like, yep, that's what I do. And so Jack is the drollest, bad, undead person you've ever seen in your life. And I had 11 months to prepare for that. And I basically had to neutralize and Botox my entire central nervous system because Jack's entire point of view is, what? I don't care, but tell me anyway. And that's Jack. And it was indeed written for me. I was in disbelief. I read the script and loved it. And I met the director, creator, Jason, the next day. I said, I can do this. You know, be a blood-drinking, murdering, undead person. I go, this is me. He went, yeah, I wrote it for you. I go, shut up, you didn't. He goes, actually, I did. But what makes it really work is the idea. The vehicle of the film is really solid. And thankfully, Jason is a wildly creative, monster creative guy. And to work under him, to be kind of in his good care as an actor was a beautiful thing.
I imagine there are things that are off limits to you. Duets with Bono, for instance, or certain...
I have said no to a few things. Film roles where I just don't like the film. I don't like the idea. TV show, hey, audition for this or be in this. I look at it, I'm like, I wouldn't want to watch this. And so I wouldn't want to be in it. That being said, I've been in a few films where I'm like, I won't watch it, but I'll work in it because I know I can do the character really well. I don't necessarily want to sit and watch the 2-hour version of it, but I know I can, you need a maniac, I can be that maniac. Turn me loose, coach, I want to play. But I say no to the stuff where I have a political disagreement with a character or something I just don't want to spend 6 weeks of my life toiling in this environment. Thankfully, I have a choice. I can say no to stuff. But even when I didn't, I still was careful because ultimately someone sees what you do and you must answer. And coming from punk rock, I'm accountable. You write me, I write you back. You say, hey, Henry, I don't walk away. I go, what? And so I am brought up on all charges. And it's like, why'd you make this movie? And I have to go, well, because, and I have to explain because I feel accountable to you. And that's what punk rock taught me. Like if any one of you ask me something, I can't just go like, I'm not going to talk about that. No way, I have to. You asked me. I can't leave it unanswered. What am I, running for Congress? Right? And so I have to be able to live with myself to a certain degree.
I watched this interview you gave with Dennis Miller back in 1992 when you were talking about how you respond to every single letter that's addressed to you. Has that proven to be true to this day? Or
sadly, I try to. The volume I got in 1992 is before I got email, as far as I can remember. And now, since it's a point and a click away, a lot of people want to have discussions with me. Henry, you and I talked for 20 minutes after the show. Now, this other thing, I'm like, really? We have to do more? And what these people don't understand, there's like 50 more of those waiting for me in the evening when I want to have middle-aged man time. I'm like anyone else. Like, please, I love you madly, now leave me alone for a while. So I do the best I can. And I come back from tour to multiple inches of snail mail. I get between 1 and 40 emails a day from people I don't know. And I do the best as one mere mortal who is insanely busy with real deadlines. So I write for this, I write for that. I owe a weekly thing, I owe a monthly thing over here. I said yes to writing the foreword for your book, which I haven't read yet. And so I am obligated. And I have another show the next night and I'm really tired. So I do the best as one person can do. And so here's the thing I figured out the other day. I am in the disappointment business. My job is to disappoint now and then. And I realize I'm gonna let some people down. You didn't answer my email. I'm in the disappointment business. Yay!
You've said multiple times that you've sworn off music for good at this point, and that this is something that every day it's something that you have to wrestle with because you miss it. It's something that you.
Yeah, I miss it sometimes, but I know that I could not bring anything worthwhile to the table, and please don't think that I'm equating myself with any of the people I'm about to mention. But I take my integrity cues from Ian MacKaye, who, trust me, if Ian's done, you will never hear a peep out of him again. He'll produce bands, but he won't make music, because Ian is an honest man. And he's been my best friend since I was 12 and he was 11. I'll see him tomorrow for the MacKaye family dinner, because he assembles his family at a dinner table every Sunday. He makes them. He's like, you are going to see me this Sunday. Do not be late for dinner. He's amazing, and I will be there. But I take my cues from Ian, Miles Davis, John Coltrane, a lot of jazz people. Miles Davis has an amazing lineup with Wayne Shorter and Herbie Hancock, and he has a new idea. He says, we're done. And everyone says, what? Well, this is the greatest jazz lineup in history. I have a new idea. And so when I had no more music in me, I went, my choice is make fake music that I don't believe in, or turn into an oldies machine, which is resting on laurels, and for me, fighting previously won or lost battles. And music was never art for me. It was conflict, confrontation. Black Flag and Rollins Band, we didn't write songs, we wrote battle hymns. That's not that, and all I'm interested in is coming to your town, going onto a stage, and annihilating everything in there with music. I want you to leave in one piece, going, wow, that was thorough. He destroyed himself. I'm thinking 20% slower, which means I can be the governor of at least 15 states in America. But I'll see that again because he gave all. And we won and lost those. I don't want to go back and be a war reenactor. And so I left music because I knew I could no longer be honest in it. And I miss it, but if I can't be honest in it, then I can't do it. So you won't like it, trust me. You'll go like that. Look at that old man wheezing through the hits. It'll be dishonest. And I can't sell dishonesty. It's the acting job I don't want.
You've shifted from making music to enlightening younger audiences and turning them on to music that they might not be familiar with through your radio show.
Bingo. And I'm a way better fan than I ever was a performer. I'm so much better at going to a record store than being in a record store. And so I can pick out 2 hours of good music once a week and love doing it, lose sleep, agonizing over the order. And I was never very good at making music, but I can buy a record and I can sit down and listen and dig it. So I'm a really good fan. I will go to your show. I will buy your tour only 45. I will listen to it way too many times. And so when you give me a radio show, I can hold that down. And I've had a radio show for 12 years now. And if it's the last job I ever had, I'd be so happy, because I get these letters like, hey, I'm 17, man, you turned me on to Ornette Coleman. Yes! That's, to me, a victory. A young person's mind's been opened up to bebop jazz. And that young person is going to flourish, because artistically, they're now becoming eclectic. And that's going to make them a really cool adult, I think.
I was skimming through the lineups for upcoming shows. There's going to be an entire show dedicated to Bowie.
Yeah.
And
It's a good show.
I know that he was one of your, you were a big fan of his.
Huge, yeah.
And you actually had the opportunity to meet him once, if I'm not mistaken, eh?
Yeah, in 1997, I was at a big music festival in Belgium. And a band like my band, we were the band that you'd never see at a festival. We played 8:45 in front of 3 young people in their congealing vomit who have been sleeping on this misty field from watching Verve the night before. So we're on in front of like angry tech people, like, why is this crap band playing while we're hanging lights at a perilous altitude? And so that was our reality. So by like 10 a.m., we're done for the next 12 hours. David Bowie is headlining the show. So if I can somehow handle 12 hours of like walking around a field, I will be able to see David Bowie from a great distance. At that moment, I'm just walking towards the catering tent. David Bowie walks by me. I was like, whoa. And I just stood silently, like I'm sighted a bald eagle. Like, there it is. And the Beau, as we affectionately named him in our band, we loved the Beau. The Beau cuts a good figure. Good-looking man, the Beau, perfectly dressed. And the Beau walks by. I'm like, there's the Beau. Be very quiet and spend 20 seconds as he walks by. Because I'm not the guy who goes running up, hey, I'm Henry Rollins. It's a big deal that you're meeting me. And because I'm just not going to do it. because I don't want the heartbreak of him going, get away from me, kid, you bother me. Because those records are so essential to my listening. I need Lodger, I need Scary Monsters, I need Station to Station, like I need Water. I mean, I love those records. So I don't want to taint it. And the bow stops. He looks at me and he says, Rollins. And I ran up to him and said, David. Because if I said, Bowie, it means like we're two, musical, titans. Like Bowie and Rollins have collaborated on shaking hands. And so I said, David. Well, I should have said, the Bow or Mr. Bowie. And I shook his hand and he said, have you eaten yet? And I said, no. And he said, well, let's go have lunch. And so he said, you said something recently in an interview I found fascinating. And he quotes like half a page of me back to me. And I'm going numb. Like, wow, I said that. And I said, you read an interview of mine? I'm honored. He said, I read all your interviews. You're really interesting. And my DNA wants to yell, shut up! And I want to run, to the nearest highway and get run over because my work here on this planet is done. The Bow has read me. I'm good. I mean, I just summited K2. And so I had this amazing, 10-minute meal with David Bowie, and he couldn't have been nicer. And then he went on stage that night and sang like perfectly, like effortlessly. He just opens his mouth and it comes. You're like, how do you do that? And he looked so good and the band was great. And so I was in Newcastle, UK the other day when I got the news that Mr. Bowie had passed away. And I listened to his last record, Black Star, 3 times that day, just out of grief, because when the last song finishes, I couldn't deal with the fact that a dead man is singing to me. So I had to play the record again for like 37 minutes. He's kind of not dead yet. And I have not been able to play the record since. It's a beautiful record. It's amazing. I just can't face it. Everyone dies, obviously. But sometimes when someone that big, someone who's that much a part of your life dies, you really feel it. And like, I don't know the guy, but I know his records. And that's one of the beautiful things about music is that you can be very close to people through their music. And I feel that closeness with any number of musicians. And I live alone, but I have thousands of roommates of records, CDs, tapes, lathes. Bob Dylan is one of my roommates, as is Jimi Hendrix and John Coltrane, and I've never met these people, but they're better than friends. I mean, they get you. They sing to your bone marrow. And so that's that love affair that you can have with art, like with a painter or somebody. And when a guy like Bowie goes, it's huge.